Hello viewers, welcome to English for my world. Well, in this session we will study commonly confused words. I repeat, commonly confused words. We come across these kinds of words in written communication. We also use them in spoken communication. For academic and competitive examinations, these words are important. We have homophones and homonyms in the words category. Well, by the word homonym, I mean to say the same name. Homo, similar, same. Nym, meaning name. For instance, words such as bank, B-A-N-K, bank. One meaning of bank is State Bank of India. Another meaning of bank is the bank of a river. Fine? Let me give you another example. Bear, B-E-A-R, bear. One meaning of bear is animal bear, the one that is very, some of the bears are black in color, we also have white bears, polar bears, and which has a lot of hair, and that is one bear. Another bear is bear as a verb. Bearing meaning tolerating, facing. I have borne several problems in my life. So, the spelling of born here is B-O-R-N-E, but the actual B-E-A-R, bear, bearing problems, meaning facing problems, is the meaning of bear. Well, these are homonyms, same spelling, even pronunciation is the same, but meaning is different. The words that I am going to introduce now to you are spellings are not similar, pronunciation may or may be similar, but definitely the meanings are different. That is the reason these words are confused. Unless we know which word to use in which place, we are always confused. Let me bring you a very humorous context to our discussion. Well, one of the professors was talking about his colleague who retired, and this professor is speaking about his colleague. During his course of speech, he was repeatedly mentioning Professor Verma has been notorious in organizing several workshops and training programs for our teaching faculty. He has been notorious in bringing several new schemes, or bringing several new systems to our administration. During the course of his conversation, or during the course of this speech, he was using the word notorious again and again. According to him, the meaning of notorious is popular or famous. Whereas the meaning of notorious, the actual meaning of notorious, N-O-T-O-R-I-O-U-S, is known for some bad things, or popular for the bad things. Popular for bad things. For example, a notorious criminal, a notorious killer. So this is used in a negative context. The word notorious is used in a negative context. But inadvertently, without knowing the actual meaning of the word notorious, this professor was using the word notorious in a wrong context, in a wrong situation. So, this is one example of how important the meanings of these words when we actually use in whether it is spoken communication or in written communication. You may encounter them in academic exams, you may also face them in most of the competitive examinations. So let us study some of these commonly confused words. Let us know the meanings of these words and let us use those words confidently and fluently in our communication. All right. So let us start with the first word, that is jealous and zealous. I have the words written on the board and I am reading the first set of words, that is jealous and zealous. Jealous and zealous. Well, what is jealousy? Well, jealousy is the biggest problem nowadays. People cannot tolerate if somebody is developing, somebody is growing in his professional life or academic life. It's enviousness, envy. When we cannot tolerate the growth of others, when we cannot digest the development, the prosperity of others, that is jealousy. Envy, enviousness, E-N-V-Y or even E-N-V-I-O-U-S-N-E-S-S, enviousness. So let us not be jealous, let us be zealous in our life. The meaning of zeal, then what is zeal? Zeal is enthusiasm, curiosity. So curiosity is zeal, enthusiasm is zeal. So the zeal to develop in life, the zeal to know new things in life, the zeal to prove oneself, zeal, curiosity, enthusiasm. So let us not be jealous, let us be zealous in our life. Okay, so that's the first pair of words that I wanted to begin the program with. Let me go to the second one. The second one is disinterested and uninterested. Disinterested and uninterested. Well, what is the meaning of the word disinterested? The meaning of the word disinterested is being impartial, not partial, not biased, not lopsided, not larger on one side. Being impartial is disinterested. And the meaning of the second word, that is uninterested, uninterested is lack of interest in doing something. Well, for this, I would like to take the example of a judge in the court of law. We all know a judge in the court of law. A judge who gives verdict, who gives judgment, is a judge. Now, a judge, while giving his verdict, he can be disinterested but not uninterested. I repeat, a judge in the court of law has to be disinterested but not uninterested in the case. In some legal case in which he is supposed to give the verdict, he is supposed to give the judgment, pass the judgment. So a judge can be impartial, a judge cannot be partial, because we know very well what happens if a judge is partial. What happens? The justice will not be done. The justice will not be done. So a judge has to be impartial and a judge has to be disinterested in the case that he is dealing or in the case that he is supposed to pass the judgment, but he should not be uninterested, because if he lacks interest, if he doesn't have interest in the case where he is supposed to pass the judgment or give the judgment, the situation will be completely chaotic. Okay? All right. Now, let me go to the next one. The third one is contagious and contagious. I repeat, contagious and contagious. What is contagious and what is contagious? We all know that the viral infections or viral diseases are contagious diseases. For example, for instance, if a person is suffering from conjunctivitis, well, in some of them, olden days, they used to also call it as madrasai, or it is actually conjunctivitis. So any vitis is infection, and we have a conjunctiva, a layer in the eye called as conjunctiva. When that layer in the eye is infected, we call that as conjunctivitis. So this conjunctivitis is contagious. It spreads, it is infectious, it spreads from one person to another person. So contagious diseases are infectious diseases spread from one person to another person. So we need to be careful. We need to take precautionary measures to protect ourselves. Okay? Right. Now the second word, that is contagious. Contagious. Remember, the first one is contagious and the second one is contagious. What is contagious? Well, the meaning of contagious is neighboring or surrounding. Neighboring or surrounding. For example, India, Sri Lanka and Pakistan are contiguous countries. I repeat, India, Sri Lanka and Pakistan are contiguous countries, meaning they are neighboring countries. They are neighboring countries. Well, usually another example that is given with this is, whenever we have more than two, we use one another. Whenever we have only two, we use each other. For example, if I use only two countries there, India and Sri Lanka, which are contiguous countries, respect each other. Respect each other. Second example, India, Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Remember, these are three countries. So the word used is India, Sri Lanka and Pakistan respect one another, not each other. So two things are two persons each other. More than two persons are two things, one another. I hope you understand. For your better understanding, let me also use another example. Ramesh and Suresh greet each other every day. Ramesh and Suresh greet each other every day. Ramesh says good morning. Suresh responds to Ramesh by saying good morning. The same sentence, Ramesh, Suresh and Rajesh greet one another. Three persons, three people. So the word used is different. Even this is one classic example of words that are confused, because at times we commit mistakes. We do not know whether to use each other there are one another there. So always remember, for two persons we always use each other. For more than two persons or two things, we always use one another. Okay, all right. The next one in our discussion is alteration and altercation. I repeat, alteration and altercation. What is altering or alteration? Alter is a sort of change. Making change is alteration. Clothes are altered according to the size. Altercation is argument. Argument or conflict is altercation. One example that can be given here is a slight alteration in the program, a slight alteration in the wedding led to the altercation. I repeat, a slight alteration in the wedding led to the altercation. Altercation, meaning a slight change in the wedding, in the program of the wedding, led to the argument. It led to the argument. You see, just slight difference in the spelling and pronunciation, the meaning of the word completely changes. All right, let us go to the next one. The next one is anonymous and unanimous. Anonymous and unanimous. The meaning of anonymous is unknown, nameless. A person who is not known can be anonymous. The meaning of unanimous is without opposition. Without opposition is unanimous. An anonymous person was unanimously elected in the election. I repeat, an anonymous person was unanimously elected in the election. A person who is not very well known, a person who is not very famous, was elected without opposition in the election. Okay. Now the next one. Assent and assent. In our set of words or in our pairs of words, we are doing the sixth one, that is ASSENT assent and ASCENT assent. So the pronunciation is almost the same. There isn't much difference in the pronunciation, but there is a difference in the spelling. The way the word is spelled, there is a difference. And not to forget, there is also a difference in the meaning of the word. The meaning of ASSENT assent is giving permission. To give permission is assent. And the meaning of ASCENT assent is to scale greater heights. Or for example, ascending a mountain, climbing a mountain is assent. Our uncle gave his assent for the ascent of the mountain. I repeat, our uncle gave his assent for the ascent of the mountain, meaning our uncle gave his permission for climbing the mountain. Well, mountains are very huge. Okay. The next one is implore and explore. Imploring and exploring. The meaning of implore is to request. requesting somebody for something to be done. And the meaning of explore is to find out, is to find out. The villagers implored the minister to explore the ways, of solving their water problem. I repeat, the villagers implored the minister to explore the ways to solve their water problem. Meaning the villagers requested the minister to find out the ways to solve their water problem. Water woes, W-O-E-S, E-S, water woes. Woes are again commonly confused words. There are three kinds of woes. W-O-E-S woes, V-O-W-S woes, and you also have O-W-E-O. The first two are W-O-E-S, woes are problems, difficulties. The next word that I said was vow. Well, there is a slight difference in pronunciation in woe and vow. V-O-W, vow, are vows. For example, marriage vows, marriage promises, marriage promises. So this is again a commonly confused pair, a commonly confused word. Remember and use it correctly in your communication. Okay, fine. Now, when I said implore and explore, I said the villagers requested the minister to find out the ways to solve their water problems, to solve their water woes. The villagers implored the minister to explore the ways to solve their water woes or water problems. Okay, fine. The next one. Eighth one is essay and assay. I repeat, essay and assay. E-S-S-A-Y, essay, and A-S-S-A-Y, assay. An essay can assay your worth. I repeat, an essay can assay your worth. Meaning, a written piece or writing about a topic can evaluate your worth, your caliber, your potential, your writing skills, your creativity, the way you connect different views, ideas and opinions. So an essay can assay your worth, that can evaluate your worth. All right? Fine. The next one in our discussion is averse and adverse. A-V-E-R-S-E, averse, and A-D-V-E-R-S-E, adverse. When you are averse to something, you don't like it or you oppose it. Well, I am averse to the idea of traveling by bus. It's a long journey, it's an overnight journey, so I am averse to this idea. Meaning, I am not in favor of the idea. I would like to travel by train. When we come to the next word, that is adverse, adversity, adverse, unfavorable is adverse. Anything unfavorable is adverse. And adverse is usually also used with the verb affect. Again, which affect is this? This is not E-F-F-E-C-T effect, but A-F-F-E-C-T affect. Smoking adversely affects your health. Drinking adversely affects your health, meaning it negatively affects your health. It affects your health harmfully. You see, that's the difference, and that's how it is used in communication. And now, coming to the last pair of words in our discussion, that is sight, sight and sight. I have SITE site, I have CITE site, and SIGHT site. What is the meaning of the first word, second word, and the third word, and how are they used in communication? The first one, site, SITE site. Site is a piece of land. I bought a piece of land in the outskirts of the city. In the outskirts of the city. The second one, CITE site. The meaning of this site is example, illustration, quote is cite. The professor cited several examples, or he cited several books during his course of talk. Meaning he referred to, he pointed to several books, various books. And the last one, that is SIGHT site, eyesight, vision, vision is SIGHT site. Carrot improves your eyesight. Eating carrot improves your eyesight. So eat more carrot to improve your eyesight. Well, that's all I have for you in this session. We have seen 10 pairs of words and with additional examples in between, with the words such as vows and vows, affect and effect, beginning from jealous and zealous, disinterested and uninterested, contagious and contagious, alteration and altercation, anonymous and unanimous, assent and assent, implore and explore, essay and assay, averse and adverse, and the last but not the least, that is site SITE, another site CITE, and the third type of site, that is SIGHT. So viewers, remember the meanings of all these words, remember the examples that we discussed, and use these words correctly and confidently in your spoken and written communication. Thank you very much for watching the program.